Werewolves and Bigfoot are real, only considered a myth by those who are too scared to engage in the history and mystery that these cryptid creatures have left in many cultures around the world. Only one team has the grit, the knowledge and the fortitude to go after these savage beasts. As one cohesive unit, NCI, North Carolina investigates.
Oh, hey, how's everybody doing? This is George Lunsford at NCI. We got our boys Tim here and Jerry here, but apparently the other guys are either running late or not going to be here. Boom Boom's being a little late because I think he's having issues and he's got to take care of at home. And Robert's birthing goats. So, how you boys doing today?
I'm looking in there. I thought I seen Cartman and Kenny, and he got killed.
What's up, Jerry? I think Jerry's having issues.
Yeah, I'm having issues. Let me try to log out and come back in.
All right, man.
I have been sitting at the house bored for the last week and a half, so I'm going stir crazy. So,
I ain't been bored, that's for sure. We've been running around getting stuff, doing stuff here and there. Now, I'd have to say the time with the snow and stuff wasn't no fun. But all we didn't really get anything but a little bit of ice.
We didn't either. Our temperature stayed up. The only time we got some ice was, I think Monday morning, yesterday morning. No, might have been Sunday morning. But anyway, we didn't know it's Monday morning. Anyway, whenever it was, we got just a little bit of ice. We didn't get enough to amount to anything. We did have a power line fall across the house, though, and that'll wake you up at 4:30 in the morning when a big old ball of fire goes through your house.
Yeah, that's true. We got the comments open, so if anybody that's out there wants to send a comment, please go ahead and do that. You know, we didn't get the information out. We had a show tonight, so I don't know if we got anybody watching or not.
I have no idea.
Oh, wait, I think we have somebody. We have the Todd. What's going on, Todd?
Hey, buddy boy.
Or should I say the wood booger? His partner is having issues. We got to get him back on when he comes back up. We do need to go down there to Jerry's, though, no joke. Todd said something about that earlier, and I think he's right. We need to go sit down there and check out around Jerry's house and Rachel's and Robert's, and everybody's got wood burgers going on except me and you, Tim. And you got area with them, man.
And I was going through Zaxby's this week, and one of the young ladies that works there, she asked me what I'd been up to, and I said, well, trying to squat a little bit before this weather set in. And she said, you do that? And I said, yes. She said, I have got something going on in the woods at my house. She said, we call it the creepy feeling or something like that. She called it. But so as soon as I get here from her, we'll have us a new place to go check out and see what's going on.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. How you doing there, Jerry?
Well, I guess we're having some internet issues.
Well, that happens when the weather's like it is.
So I just switched on over to the good old cell data.
Oh, okay. Well, that works. Well, according to the thing, we got 5 people watching, but only Todd's checked in with us. Everybody else, don't be shy, guys. Come on in. Talk to us, see what's going on. Tell us what you got going on.
They're embarrassed. That's what they did. I don't want people to know I was on listening to their show.
Well, that could be true too. I don't doubt that. But we don't. Well, our everything's kind of been kind of wonky today, so we're kind of winging this today. I hope everybody enjoys our show anyway. Now, Rachel, didn't you say something was going on with Rachel's camera she set up?
Yeah, the camera we put in the house. If anybody has checked the videos out on the NCI YouTube page, The camera that we put out at the house, she went back and checked it, and it had 755 pictures on it in just that short amount of time, which has only been a couple of weeks. And
That's a lot.
a lot. And so she took it and put it on her laptop. Her laptop wouldn't pull them up. So she got one of those card readers. She tried 2 or 3 different things and never could get it to work. So she got one of those that goes in your cell phone, the card reader viewer, and put it in it, and it deleted all 755 pictures. Everything that deleted it every bit off, and she couldn't get it to work. You know, usually you don't have no trouble with them. You take them off and stick them in your computer, and I know the kind of camera she's using, the stealth cameras, if I ain't mistaken. So, you know, they shouldn't have been no problem with the computer, but her cell phone deleted every one of them, and now her trail camera, it will only turn on if there's not a card in it. If you put a card in it, it won't turn on. And if you take the card out, it'll turn on, but as soon as you put it in, it turns it off. So something weird happened to that thing over there. And the reason she checked it was the dead goat in there kept getting moved around. So she was wanting to see what it was, and evidently it didn't want her to see what it was because of the crazy stuff that happened. You know, out in the woods and Bigfoot and stuff, we have that kind of stuff happen all the time, but not inside an old house.
No.
You know, now we did hear a lot of disembodied voices coming over the EVP and all of that stuff in there. So it could be some kind of, I don't know if Robert would call them, I don't know if Hanks would do that or not, but something really messed with her camera and messed with that card for it not to pull up on three different gadgets.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely, Todd. We got to get a big hunt. We get all of us going there at the same time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go the 31st, but weather's going to prevent that.
Yeah.
Supposed to have snow, ice, and a high of 15 degrees.
Yeah.
And welcome, South Carolina.
Ed
Ed.
Whalen. What's up, Ed?
What do you think about that, Jerry, about that camera?
There's a lot of hinky camera problems that goes on in this business. I've seen it myself. Multiple different game cameras belonging to multiple different people. It's got. I think Robert Epler, our brother, has got the best explanation, and I believe it's the EMF that creatures put off or emit, and then you throw in areas of supernatural occurrences.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother way for electronics to be messed with.
Well, I'm going to play devil advocate for a second. You know, if these things truly are going through portals, couldn't the radiation from those creatures cause that too?
Sure. Heck yeah. That's a great observation.
I try to be smart every now and then.
Somebody out of the group has to. Might as well be George.
I got to tell you this before we go ahead, Father. I just got a message from Brian. He said Bojangles is opening the first Michigan location February 3rd.
He's getting ready to get him some fixings.
That's going to be the most confused bunch of Yankees in the world up there trying to figure out what fixings are. But that Brian will explain to all of them, won't he?
He will. He'll be
it.
eating there day and night instead of Burger King. He'll have him a new spot.
That boy tickles the far out of me. I'm so glad he's with us.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. He brings a lot to the table.
Well,
Hmm.
all our guys do. That's why we picked who we picked. You know, we
I
got
wonder-
the best group out there, because anybody says, and everybody's got a different view of everything.
Mhm. And Brian brings coleslaw to the table.
That's true. Oh Lord. I wonder how our cameras are holding up there.
I don't know. They should be fine. That one, well, the one that I've got screwed into the tree should be fine. I don't know about the other two.
I don't know about mine. I'm kind of wondering about it.
Yeah, it'll probably be fine.
Well,
Yeah,
you couldn't
sure.
see it. Well, you couldn't see it that good.
No,
I mean, when you're looking at it, you can't see it that good because it blended in that tree real well.
yeah,
I just hope we got some pictures of something.
yeah, I do too. Whatever it is making that track out, that walkway out that road, that's padding the leaves down, not chomping them up like deer and hogs and that kind of stuff, but padding it down. Something's using that road quite a bit, and we think we found a track on it. So I'm going to get my fat fingers crossed.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now, Jerry's been having a lot of stuff happen around his house from what I read online.
Yeah, last night it's been quiet. It's been very quiet here for, gosh, a week and a half, 2 weeks. But last night, I'm basically I got the same routine every night. At a certain time around 9:30, I take my dogs out, bring them back in, take another set out, and I do all that. And last night I finished up. I came in, cut off the lights, and then I thought, I wonder how cold it is out there. And I decided to walk back to the barn thermometer, which is, 40, 50 yards from my back door.
Yeah.
Went out there and I was shining the light on the thermometer. I was getting ready to take a picture of it. And bam, big wood pile laying there next to the barn. And the sound, made me turn my head, and I saw something bounce off the wood pile and land next to the gate going in the pasture. And it was a rock about that big. And I had my spotlight with me. I don't ever go out without it at night. And I swept the pasture and I saw nothing. And it had to come from way down that hill, because I'm sure that it wasn't, between me and the house when it threw the rock. But it's so slick. We've got a sheet of ice here. It is a sheet of ice. And I guess I surprised it. I come inside for 10 or 15 minutes. They thought I had done my regular routine for the night, and it done that. And I came back in because by the time that I sat out there and studied it, it had went from 11 degrees, it dropped down to 8, and I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
So I come back in the house, cut off all the lights, and I just kind of stayed at my kitchen window looking out. I can see the whole backyard. And with the ice on the ground, it gives you more visibility, but I didn't see nothing. And finally went and laid down, was watching stuff on YouTube. Bam, front of the house. Don't know if it would hit the side of the house or if it stomped the porch floor, the front porch floor. And I said, Nancy, did you hear that? And she said, yeah. And then it happened a second time. And it wasn't so loud. I think that one came from the western end of the house. We sleep on the eastern end. It was not as loud. And then the third one was loud enough. It brought Nancy out of she was asleep and snoring, and it hit somewhere on the southeastern back end of the house, and it hit loud. I expected to go out there and find maybe my siding busted or something, but there was no sign, and there's no hope for footprints because I don't think a 500-pound person could make a imprint into that ice, because it's just basically about a 3/4 inch sheet of ice.
Yeah.
And how something can walk around on that sheet of ice and not bust its hind end, I don't know, because I busted mine twice today just trying to go back forward.
They wanted you to salt everything so they could walk.
Yeah.
They made the house, And I don't know. I guess hitting something, maybe open hand hitting the house.
Yeah.
And there's a surface area there where it's not going to break the siding. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh yeah,
But
the bigger the area, the more contact you got with it and everything. Let us introduce the one and only Boom Boom.
What's going on, my peoples? How you be? Everybody good?
Peachy.
Doing good.
Good. Sorry I'm late.
We'll
No
forgive
problem.
you this time.
No, I appreciate it, guys. I gotta quit doing this.
Robert's
whole
birthday
midnight-
goat, so that's okay.
Yeah, it's this midnight schedule I'm on. It throws me sometimes.
You on a different schedule?
No, it's just that it throws me. I've been sleeping later lately, and then you wake up and you got family who need stuff, and then you gotta run, and it's all good. I'll get it rectified.
Well, Jerry was just telling us about some activity he had at his house last night.
Oh, really? What kind? What's going on? Oh, yeah, the banging. I did read that.
The first thing Boom Boom was about, I don't know, I guess about a little before 10, I went out to check the thermometer at the barn and a rock was thrown. I'm assuming from my pasture area somewhere, but it hit the wood pile next to me where I was standing. And as I turned my head, I caught the rock bounce, landed next. It's about that big. Then later had 3 different bangs on the house, but the third one it's the loudest one we've ever had. It was tremendously loud.
What
Did
do you
look
think?
for a handprint?
Yeah, I did. I went out there today and looked the siding up and down. I didn't see any kind of greasy spot or nothing, or any place where the oxidization on the vinyl siding had maybe been. If you put oil on oxidized vinyl siding, it's going to show.
Yeah. Well, that's a great lead into what we want to talk about. How the Bigfoot and stuff handle this weather. Because, it's been cold. It's been down to 5 degrees at night. And, up in the mountains as well as I do, it's even colder than that. And I'm thinking because of the waterproof hair and the oily skin, it keeps them warmer.
Yeah.
Keeps all that cold out. Not
Agreed.
to mention the fact that, that they probably have a fat layer just like a bear.
Without a doubt. Jerry, you know what I'm going to say, guys. Mothman Prophecies, what's in that movie, they say, you noticed them and they noticed that you noticed them. They are aware of what we're doing. That's number one. Then number two, I always go back to, we got to get this guy on the show. Guy by the name of Matthew Sexton, one of my main eyewitnesses, been a full part of the Bigfoots of Michigan TV series, Bigfoots of America podcast show. Matthew Sexton was within 10 feet of an orangutan colored, huge 9-10 foot Sasquatch, alpha male. And he said the one thing that profoundly he said was, these things are made for cold weather. He got a good look at how thick the skin was on the hands and the feet, on its face, the durability, the massive durability of these creatures, the thickness of the hair. So, yeah, I think to me, it barely affects them. I think, like here in Michigan, when it's snowing every other day, blizzard type conditions, blowing wind, I think they feel more free. They're out there walking around. They know their footprints are going to soon be covered up. They're able to howl to one another. Everybody, we're all in our homes, man. We all shelter in our homes when it gets heavy like this. And, we're down in single digits, even negative degrees. I think they feel more free. That's my personal opinion.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that.
I think
that makes more sense.
I think that's what they do whenever they close the gates up here where I'm at. They close the gates to where we can't get into most of our spots from January 1st to April the 1st. So they feel free to get out and move around more, and there's not hunting dogs running them everywhere and all of that stuff. And I think that's one reason that they're starting to close that area off earlier and earlier, because it used to stay open year round. And then it used to stay open till the campground used to stay open through deer season. And now they've got it closing up after the first week of deer season. And you've still got a month, and you still got about 5 weeks of deer season left now. But they start closing it down, and then when everything gets closed up, they're on their own. It's like kids in a candy store.
That's good. I hope our cameras catch something up there.
Yeah, I do too.
And now, I don't know if you guys saw it, now with the grand opening of the first Bojangles in Michigan, them Sasquatch is going to be going crazy smelling them fixins.
And eating that coleslaw.
We were just talking about that a while ago. They're going to have you go around to every store they open and explain to everybody what fixins are.
Right? Us Yankees ain't going to know what the heck. When we look at the whole population of Michigan, when they see that drive-through menu, they're going to be so confused.
They're going to say, fixing to what? What are you fixing to do?
Exactly.
What was broke?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a ton of money though. I'm gonna be the interpreter for Bojangles here in Michigan. I'll just call you guys up. Hey, what's this? What's a grit? What's a grit?
I agree with you, Todd, 100%.
Yeah.
Todd said he believes any creature lives in the elements adapt very well to weather changes.
Yeah.
Well, here in our area, the activity peaks during the coldest months.
Oh, yeah. I know most activity we usually have is in January and February.
Yeah, that one guy,
Tennessee.
one of my eyewitnesses from Alabama, the guy who said that Sasquatch walked through downtown Huntsville, Alabama, he said in his city, everybody knows this huge white Bigfoot that he saw walk in front of his car. And he said the waistline was at his roof, if not higher. And they call this thing White Fang. They said it doesn't come out of the caves until November, until it starts to cool down.
That's because Alabama's part of hell. I've been to Alabama in the middle of summer. That's the hottest friggin' place in the world.
Oof.
I'm going to have to go in
Man.
summer because I've always been in the winter and fall, and that's the coldest place in the world.
We was down there in August. I thought we was going to, I can't always doing that, but my son was real little. We decided to take him to the zoo. You could see the air. Literally see the air. We get to the zoo, and the elephants are going, damn, it's hot. You know, when
Their
African elephant
trunks.
says that, you know it's hot. That's all I can say.
And I'm gonna have to try that because honestly, I've been down there in November deer season, and I've been down in there in March squatching, and it was cold. I mean, frost on the inside of the truck cold.
Well, we was in Huntsville, matter of fact. That's where my buddy lived at that back then. We sent a guy I was in the Navy with. But
I don't
man,
know
that was,
what
a freaking place. That was hotter than Texas.
You know, it's interesting, guys. I was thinking to myself, so right now here in Sandusky, Michigan, like I always tell you, we're like this little oasis in the middle of nowhere, and we have these huge deer populations. You know, just you don't see 1-2 deer, you see a herd cross the road, and so lately they've all been in the residential areas. So I'm like, why are they in the residential? Well, it's even all the homes with their furnaces running. I bet you the temperature may be just that much warmer in the residential area that all the deer are coming in. So I'm like, wow, I wonder, you know, with that happening, are there Sasquatch having to be more mobile, maybe going greater distances to find the deer? You know, the weak deer are going to start dying off. Their food supply. So yeah, kind of interesting.
He came to my house. I got a pile of deer. They were waiting on me this morning.
Oh, really?
I
Corn?
feed right now. I'm feeding between 15 and 20 deer every day.
Awesome. See, I love doing that too because I've had two herds fighting with each other in the backyard to get to the corn. Because I'm like, hey, if anything goes down, we're going to have a full supply of deer now that they're acclimated to come to our house.
I got Big Mama lives over here. Now she'll clear everybody off until the bucks get here. When the bucks get here, she'll even leave. Big Boy was here this morning. Big old 8-point. His rack's like this. He's gorgeous. And he's about this thick through the shoulders.
Wow.
He's a monster. He runs the place.
Oh, I bet.
I walk out, he looks at me. Everybody else he runs away from. He walks over to the woods and waits for me right there at the edge of the woods. I pour the corn. All right, come on. I turn around. He'll run right down there and start eating.
Nice.
I think that they hunt. I think they hunt it times in the winter.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I think what happened last night here was they always, I think they come uphill to hunt the deer because deer comes uphill and beds down in the old hog lot beside of me. It's grown up with weeds now. And sometimes the deer bed down in my pasture. So I think they'd come uphill to predate maybe some deer laying in that old hog because it is super thick with weeds and old milkweed and everything else. But you can see the area is matted down. So they came uphill at night to hunt, and I surprised them, and they wanted me gone.
That's what it sounds like. They're pissed off because you interrupted them.
And got pissed off. Yeah. I believe you're right.
Well, I mean, they're intelligent. They know what everything's doing in that woods. And they're going to move where they need to move to get what they need to eat. And they don't care who's around. And if you make them mad, they'll let you know about it. I mean, Jerry knows that already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you guys really have driven the point home to me this past year. How much Sasquatch watches us and watches everything that's going on. They don't have jobs. They ain't got to go anywhere. So they have watchers posted everywhere, and they know when Jerry's in the house. They know when the deer are moving. So yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah,
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. They're keeping an eye on everything that's going around, no matter what. And it's smart. I mean, it's smart of them to do that. They work as a group. They work as individuals and as a team at the same time. They probably got certain areas they go, this is your area. You patrol this area. You get food. Let us know what the food's doing. Let us know what the people's doing. You get this area. You do the same thing. I bet I wouldn't have any doubt that that's the way they're set up. That's just the way it seems they're set up.
Yep. I always think about when I think of Sasquatch, I think about Matthew Sexton, and I'll bring that up in a second, but I also think about Jurassic Park. Remember the first Jurassic Park where the hunter was going after the raptor and got it within line of sight, and then the one came up on the side?
Yep.
Well, the same thing, Matthew Sexton, he's watching these two Sasquatch move back and forth, stacking up deer, and then all of a sudden he's like, gets that feeling like, uh-oh, and he looks over his shoulder, and the alpha male's just standing there watching him watch the other two collect the deer. And
like
it's like, oh yeah, they're military. What's the word? Militaristic?
Militarized.
Military. How organized they are, So they're knowing when Jerry's coming and going. And when you're a friend, they're gonna slap on your house, man. They're gonna make their presence known, man. They're so amazing.
What the bad thing is, if they were really pissed at him, really pissed, they'd kill everything he's got and tear his house all to hell.
Yeah.
But the fact that they know Jerry and they've watched him for so long, they know he's not a threat. They don't get violent with him. They just let him know that they're not happy.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, I just got approached. And this is something I don't talk about, So I might as well bring it up now. I get approached every so often. People want me to take them to the locations. And, you know, I have to talk to them and kind of get to know them. Like the one guy who wants to come out now, I'm unsure. You know, I gotta think, I gotta pray on it, because if your intentions are wrong, the Sasquatch are gonna know.
Yeah.
You know, if this guy's gonna come back later with his buddies and they think they're gonna bag a Sasquatch, you know, number one, I don't want that happening. Number two, now that I'm starting to form a relationship with the two clans I'm dealing with, well, I think it's a clan and maybe like I said, the one might be a mother. Um, I I don't want that ill feeling getting on me from the Sasquatch either. Like, hey, you brought, you know, a low life into our territory.
Right.
Because, you know, we start talking about how good they can smell. I bet you they're like hound dogs. Every little thing. I bet you they can, you know, I'm going to be outlandish. I think Sasquatch can see like eagles. I think they can smell like hound dogs. I think they're so far in front of us. You know, they hear your car when you pull up a mile away. They're aware, like we talked about, always watching. So it's like they know Jerry's a good person. So they're going to come up, you know, bang on his house, kind of let them know they're there, but hey, we're not here to cause any trouble. What they do at my house, bang on the camper. When I asked them not to, they growled at the window, haven't jumped on top of my house or beat my house to death. But I think you're right, George. We've heard so many stories about them coming in, and yeah, if you're not a good person, they're gonna let it be known that they know you're not a good person.
Well,
And
I'm
that's
gonna
what
I'm gonna make a wild suggestion, and I want to know y'all's opinion about it. You're all gonna think I'm crazy, but this came up the other day. Your karma. If you go out there, do you believe that the Bigfoot can actually see what your aura is? If you have a red aura, or I don't know what all that stuff means, but we're going to find out. If you have, they can see and tell what kind of person you are, but what kind of aura you have. Do you think that they have that kind of vision?
Well, you know, dogs and horses do.
Yeah.
Horses can tell if you're afraid of them or not.
That's true. Hello,
and
Grace.
and they can, and also dogs. You know, dogs don't like certain people because they
that's
know
true.
that. So if they can, then why wouldn't Bigfoot?
That's
know?
true. Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, I fully believe, and I'm gonna tell you who swayed me on this. Robert Morgan. If y'all heard of this dude, he wrote a great book called the how's it titled exactly? Field Sasquatch Field Guide.
Yeah.
So he talks about that. He talks about they watch you and they study you.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what y'all are saying, if they don't like you, I mean, they're probably not going to show themselves. As a matter of fact, they're probably going to get away. Or if they don't like you, they're going to keep a close eye on you. They just ain't going to reveal themselves to you.
Right. Boom, boom. What's your thought?
Oh, without a doubt, George. Without a doubt. I think in that realm, the aura, we emit an energy off of that. And to me, this is intelligence lost. I think we've, you know, as we've become more quote unquote civilized and moved away from living off the land, I do, you know, I don't believe we evolved from apes or anything, but I do believe you will evolve to fit your surroundings. And over time, you know, certain things your abilities might become greater. Well, I think these things are able to maybe even see the energy that's released off of you and be able to read that energy. Us as Christians, I believe we're even marked by the Most High, and we're seen in the spiritual realm as different, as highly blessed. You know, when that entity spoke to me at Chad Skolton's house, What did it call me? It called me Sebastian, meaning highly revered one. That's not me. That's the mark that God puts on us because we're covered by the blood of the Jesus. And
Yeah.
I think Sasquatch is able to pick up something of that type of a deal, spirituality and aura. I just think it's something we can't see as modern humans. Maybe we've lost that ability over time. I don't know. But yeah, without a doubt.
Scott, I agree with you. Robert does know a lot. Robert's a great guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Mhm.
I wished he was here to jump in this conversation because I know he'd love it. But yeah, I agree with you. I really do. I mean, I know how dogs do. I know how horses do, especially dogs. I've been around dogs more than I have horses. I've been around enough horses though to know that they do sense whether you're good or bad. And I think that I really do think they're a higher being. I mean, I know
Mhm.
it's weird, but I think we we're the product of evolution through environment. Okay, that's why every creature on Earth is the same way. We've evolved in different ways. We evolved for comfort. We evolved for book learning. We evolved for electronics, things to make our life easier. Where they evolved in a way to better survive, better to be able to read your enemy, better to read your food, better to be able to tell what's going on in the woods before anybody else can, be able to communicate over miles and miles of area without having to actually hold a device in your hand. That's how they evolved. We evolved totally different. We're weaker, we're more frail than they are. So we had to develop ways for comfort and of survivability through our intelligence instead of our strength.
And one thing that Tim was talking about, the marking, you sort of made me think back about deer hunting this year. In there in mine and Dwight's research area, that's the first time I'd hunted in there in probably 6 years. And the very first morning I start walking in, I hear a tree break. I get walked in, and that's the morning when they come in around me and started breaking the limbs and stuff around me, let me know they was there. And I
Yeah.
honestly think they recognized who I was because they didn't try to hide. I seen the white one move. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. That's the only thing I can figure out. But anyway, they didn't. It wasn't like they was way off doing it. They was just out of sight enough to where I couldn't get a look at them. But they would stand there and stake and break sticks and all of that stuff. And like unlike the usually when years before they would walk in with us and walk out with us. But this time they just come in and stayed with, I'd say they never got out of 50, 60 yards of me because I could
Yeah.
hear them breaking the sticks and all of that stuff. And I think they do. I think they mark you. They know what your intentions are, and not being in there in that amount of time and then coming back and for them to even come around, I think that proves that they know that they remembered who I was, because usually you got to go into areas a few times before they start showing themselves and
Yeah.
making themselves known and all of that.
Well, that's like when we were up there where you took Boom Boom and them.
Mhm.
I think they let us know they were there. They just didn't let us see them. I
Mhm.
mean, the rock clanking and the dog barking and all kinds of stuff that was going on. I mean, they didn't actually seem like they were not letting us know that they wasn't there, but we know that you're in here looking around at our stuff. We can tell what you're doing. We're going to stay
Mhm.
outside, but we're going to keep an eye on you. That's what it
Yeah.
seemed to me like they were doing.
Yep.
We'll,
Without a
we'll
doubt.
find out what your intentions are, and then we'll decide whether we like you or not.
Yeah. Well, I think once they get that peanut butter, they'll be happy.
Yep. Yeah, I think about all my contacts. Hindsight is always 2020. It's always so much better. And then having the information, tuning into people like this show, Daryl Denton gave a great dynamic. If you think about Daryl Denton's first encounter with the wood booger, it wasn't really a friendly encounter. But then when he encountered the other type, or the different type of Sasquatch, it was much more humanistic, friendly, even to the point of touching his fingers.
Yep.
And then so I've been Rolodexing. I'm laying out 2026. Been spending the past week going over what's going to be happening in 2026, and I'm very happy with the progress that's been made, not only in the show and being with you guys and all of that, but really in the relationship aspect of my group of Sasquatch. They have moved, even though, like you said, George, even though they haven't let me see them yet, I
Yeah.
know that's going to be one of the next steps. I've got one on photo. I've got all the footprints. They've left the footprints on purpose. Even when it came in and spoke, and even when it came in and had the Sierra Sound type howl real close to my tent, all those times, growling at the window, all those times, they were never intimidating me. They were never threatening me. They were free, like he's not a threat anymore. We're free to kind of be ourselves around him. And I think that's it, man. If you're coming at them with, they just know it. That, or whatever it is, man, that interdimensional aspect, they're able to see or read us like animals do. They just got, like you said, George, they've got some kind of sense, sixth sense to read us and to know whether we're good or bad.
That's what I
And
think.
usually-
I really do. But
And usually, too, I'm
Go
sorry. To the bad ones expose themselves in how they interact with us too. If you're gonna have that wood booger type growling at you. They're gonna reveal themselves to you, whether they're nice or bad too.
Yeah, because they're just wanting to intimidate you.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's one
I'm
thing
gonna ask you guys a question, and I'm probably gonna get you guys probably gonna think I'm nuts. I don't know the answer. This is just a thing that popped in my head a while ago that I have to ask. How many types of Bigfoot do you believe they are?
Well, I'll tell you what Tim
true, Ed.
Coonbo Baker told me. He told me, and well, all the people that was there at that camp out we was at, that there's 16 different types of them. And he had pictures and all of this. So I don't know if that's true. I know he knows a lot more about it than I'll ever know. And I mean, he sound credible to me, so I just took him at his word. And I think he's done enough research to know.
All right, that sounds great to me. I can believe that. What about you, Jerry?
Well, let me say one thing before I forget.
Okay.
Going back, I'm gonna go back just for a second. When we were talking about them reading you, same thing with Robert Morgan in his book, and I've heard others say it to include some of the big time researchers, Martin Groves being at the top of the list, but says if you go in there armed like you're getting ready to engage in a military firefight, you've probably just plummeted your chances of getting to see anything or have any interaction down to about zero. You see folks going in the woods armed, like, good Lord, like they're getting ready to go and fight 3 days. They've got so many magazines and they got plate carriers and everything else. Nothing against people that want to do that. I'm just saying you're shooting yourself in the foot probably. Now, number of Bigfoots that they are. You think about all the different personalities of the Bigfoots of different regions. You've got the skunk ape who acts a certain way. You've got the more aggressive Bigfoot creatures like down in Arkansas and southern Missouri. Then up in the Pacific Northwest, there seems to be a mix. Of course, that's a huge area to lump in under one category, but you have passive Bigfoot, you have aggressive Bigfoot. And if I'm not mistaken, in Michigan, there's been some Bigfoot aggression. Am I right? Boom, boom.
Well, without a doubt, yeah. I don't mean to paint such a pretty picture, but yes, it's a rule of thumb here that the Bigfoot in the Lower Peninsula are much nicer than the Bigfoot in the Upper Peninsula. We have stories, but here's the key that seems to be now. I'm trying to be gentle about this. Yes, we do have horrific stories of one of them is finding bodies in the riverbanks that we have here, buried in the riverbanks. The state police have found them. Um, a lot of the sightings, unfortunately, the people shot at the Bigfoot first. And like that gentleman, his parents were ripped apart, but they left the two kids alone. That is an example where the guy shot first. The Bigfoot had kind of moved in and were watching them, and the guy noticed, and he had a sidearm, and he started shooting at him, and that they went into a frenzy. And evidently, he shot one of them. Didn't fatally wound it because it was too small of a caliber of the gun, but the rest of the clan came in and tore him apart. And when the state police and the extra government support came in, they found the limbs of the people quite a bit of ways away, and the Bigfoot had been eating on those. So the H.A. Miller document, it's all about keeping your distance, respecting each other's distance. But then again, if you get that rogue male or whatever sowing its oats and it's hungry, all bets are off the table. So yeah, you can go any direction. I don't mean to be so vague, but you can really go any direction. It seems if they have a food supply, hey, no problem. But if things are getting scarce, I'd say watch out.
That's funny. I wonder how many are misidentified attacks, whether people are calling Bigfoot, but it's actually Dogman.
There you go. And we are influxing there, man. I'm just finding out more. You guys know I started that Dogman Prophecies, just a quick little thing, and I'm going to get back to that this week. But there are it's coming out of the woodwork now about Dogman. So their population numbers are on the rise. If they're on the rise here in Michigan, they're on the rise in every other place where they're heavily populated. So I believe they run in clans as well. So
yeah.
I know Go ahead, Jerry.
Boom Boom said he was going to be gentle, so I put my helmet on because I thought things about.
I don't, because I've been blessed, in the sense that my Sasquatch clans around me have been really nice and kind. But then I hear the horror stories, from the UP and then even in the upper portion of the lower peninsula, because now they're starting to bleed over into every other area because their numbers are rising so much. And that H.A. Miller documented, just point blank said, hey, look, there needs to be a buffer zone between humans and these clans, because if food starts getting scarce, the Bigfoot are going to win against the humans. Yeah, there are some horror stories out there, man. It's not pretty. So on the flip side, Bigfoot is also not a big cuddly teddy bear like we want him to be, or we portray him as all the time, on our sites.
One thing that I wish, the last one that I saw up on Standing Indian, I wish I'd have never picked my gun up to look at it. And I know, I honestly think it knew I wasn't going to hurt it, but as soon as I picked that gun up, it hid. And it stayed hid the whole time while I had my gun up. And I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't going to shoot it or nothing. I was just trying to get a better look at it. And I've played it over in my head a million times, and I wish I'd have never done that and just seen how long it would have stayed there interacting with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's another one for you. I'm going to make you think tonight.
Oh,
how many different mutations of Bigfoot and Dogman do you think are out there?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, it could be more than it would probably surprise us, because if you look at the variety within, just humans. Look at humans, and then you get into wildlife. So many different subspecies of different snakes, everything, fish, everything. There's subspecies and subspecies of subspecies, and things have different temperaments. And going back to the aggression, and some are gentle, some are highly aggressive and quick to defend their territory, and maybe quick to tear somebody apart, or maybe they're aggressive only in the sense that they'll put on a threat display when somebody gets into territory they don't want you. Who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, how many? I don't even have a guess for that.
Yeah.
I've often wondered, do they, when the males get up to sexual maturity and they have to leave and they have to start their own place, I'm wondering if that is a lot of the times the case of the more aggressive ones, because they're out on their own now, trying to start their own clan, their own family, whatever you want to call them, and they're having to find their own place. They don't have home anymore. Mom and dad run him off because it's time for him to move out and start his own life. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if a lot of the more hostile ones could be the ones that are reaching that age, because when chimps get to that age, they just flip, they just lose control, and
True.
are known to jump on people and attack them, even people that's been their owners for years. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if a lot of times, if it's the ones that are getting up to that age and are having to move out and start everything over.
Yeah. Bun Bun?
Yeah. Yeah. Answering this question and the question before, kind of what Jerry said. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt if there's, like Tim said, 16 base types, as I always talk, dogs or cats. There's so many different breeds and everything. And then there's so many different variations. As I always say, in the thumb of Michigan alone, we've seen just about every color there is to see. And for instance, over the weekend, I was out of town, just kind of across the state a little bit, at the state cheer competition. Laura's grandkids were there, granddaughters were there, and the cheer competition. And I saw a human who looked different than any other human. I'm 57 years of age. And when I saw this human, I was taken aback because of the differences in this particular human's facial features, where this is going to sound funny, guys, but of course I beeline to him because his face was halfway between what I would consider human and a Sasquatch face to be. So whatever, yeah. So I was like, whoa, look at that guy. So, and he probably was looking at me like, what's this guy doing? But I'm like, there's an example, man. I want, and I'm like you, George, I want to walk out in the woods and I want to see a Sasquatch with horns,
Yeah. I want to see them all. I ain't going to lie to you. They could make a parade and I'd sit there and eat popcorn and love every second of it. No lie. Okay.
Yep.
Now I'm going to throw another wrench in this. You ready?
Mm-mm.
Do you believe that there are government created Sasquatch and Dogman?
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with let's start with Jerry this time.
Well, I don't put nothing past them. There's so many secret things and so many things that have a black budget. Things that go before Congress, they get funded, but when Congress votes on it, they don't even see. They can't see what they're voting for. It's a black program, black budget, and our government's done so many nefarious things through, especially in the last 100 years.
Oh yeah.
I don't put anything past them. There is no telling what they have experimented on from a biological standpoint, trying to create the super soldier. I mean, Russia's did it. We've did it too.
Yeah. Tim?
I think Jerry's right. We've actually heard stories of people that have killed dogmen, and then they show up and tell them that you just killed their
Asset.
asset. So, and we know good and well that a lot of times when Sasquatch gets killed, that they come and pick them up. Or they come in and shut you up, and all of this kind of stuff. So, there's no telling what. To be honest with you, there's no telling what they've created. We we think we have a pretty good idea, but we really don't. We have no idea of all the underground bunker and bases and private places that nobody in this world knows about except for the handful of people that work there. And
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have that along with the aliens and everything else.
All right, boom, boom.
All right, you guys got your seatbelts on?
I'm
'Cause
ready,
here we
baby. I'm
go.
buckled in.
All right, first of all, as I always say, Hollywood bears witness and testifies to this. Movies like Island of Dr. Moreau, any kind of narrative that supports aliens or subterranean type creatures, okay? If we think about Neanderthals, now, I'm of the opinion, of course, nobody knows exactly what a Sasquatch is. Yes, because of increasing technology, the government is wanting to learn things. And so, of course, they are dabbling in all sorts of things, clones, all that kind of thing. We have the Neanderthal narrative, like I said, and I'm getting to a certain point, and this is the put your seatbelt on. When God created Adam and Eve, okay? Now, this is not saying that all Sasquatch or dogmen are bad. We don't know about that. But here's what I'm saying. The dark side is famously or infamously known as copycats. So once God made Adam and Eve in the garden, I think the dark side, well, he can do that. Let's see what we can do. And so they had their own experiments and they started combining things. And this is the whole Enochian narrative, the Genesis narrative. But it wasn't just, you know, we've got the narrative that they're trying to take over the world and all this kind of stuff. Well, no, it's also an inquisitive nature. Well, let's see what we can do. So then they started really with the splicing of the DNA and the mixing of the bloodlines just to even see what they could do to, you know, and then maybe sure there's some perversion in there that they intended to hurt God by this, but they were also just trying to see what they could do as what we call the small g gods, where God is the omnipotent, almighty Father in heaven, encompassing all things. I think all these smaller g gods, these you know, we classify them as angels, but there's many different classifications, probably innumerable
Well,
classifications
there's
of
7
angel type
classifications
beings.
for angels.
Okay. So out of this, with their abilities, I believe they got kind of curious as to what they could create. And who knows how many of these creatures. But yeah, so then that bled into, you know, we always go back to Eisenhower. What was that? 1954 and meeting with
Grace.
extraterrestrials. Right. And then that brings in a higher technical knowledge, so to speak. So even have some creatures been taken off Earth, taken away, and then brought back in a different form and dropped off. You could go on and on with this. So yes, of course, I believe, yes, there's a base of what were maybe the normal types like canines and felines, but as time has unfolded, more and more different types of creatures are emerging. And that testifies in 2111 that in the last days, you'll see monsters and things coming down from the heavens, you know. So anyways.
Oh, that's cool. Now, to answer one of our viewers' questions, says, how prominent do you think they are in the Appalachian area? I personally think the Appalachian area is a dumping ground. I think when they create these creatures, if they can't control them or they want to test them, they drop them in the Appalachian Mountains because of the variations of height, variations of different land terrains in the Appalachian Mountains. Because, I mean, you've got everything because we go all the way from Georgia to Maine. So, you know, there's a lot of difference in that mountain range. But I'm going to tell y'all something that I read about the other day, and I think you're going to find it really, 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 really interesting. I read an article based off of a military paperwork. The guy found it, he read it, and he basically wrote a story about it. Of course, now he is gone. Nobody knows what happened to him. Nobody knows where he went to, but it made it out to the web. I went there, I checked out some of the resources for this article, and they were credible. At least they look credible from what I could tell. AI, you can't tell these days. But in the article, it said that there is a high-ranking black op group that is doing, since they were able to bring back the direwolf, they're using the same basic technology, and they're combining several different monsters along with alien DNA. They're trying to combine them all together to make this one, for some stupid reason, super creature is what they call it.
Super soldiers.
And if this creature, if it ever does take, and the DNA actually does bind, and it does everything that they're wanting to do, the creature is said to be between 10 and 15 feet tall, have more strength than Bigfoot, be faster than a dog man, and have the brain power of a gray alien. Now, what kind of excuse my language, what kind of a dumbass wants to make this thing and release it? Because you can't control it.
Contain it. Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to control this thing. Period.
Yep. And let me guess, he's red-headed.
Yeah, well, kinda. I mean, I don't know about that part of it.
You're right, though, Tim. Even I just read a narrative about the giants in the Solomon Islands. They're red-headed.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They've been around for age. I actually wrote about them in my new book.
Awesome.
Yep.
we get blamed for everything.
Well, that's understandable. You are a bad influence. I mean, I was sweet and lovable until I got around Tim.
While we're on this subject, let's revisit an incident. You guys have seen the video, but you recall back last spring, you and Tim, you and George came here. Now, the night before, some guys from Dirty South had camped out at the creek. That was a Friday night. Saturday morning, y'all came up. We investigated all day. We found the new deer kill in the area. We found a fresh deer kill. That night, my cousin and that crew came, and we did an overnighter. We had activity, and then into Sunday, was back out in the woods during the daylight looking for footprints or whatever. So I decided, because I'm a genius, that I was going to do a whole episode on my TikTok show. At the time, I wasn't posting anything on YouTube. It was on TikTok. And I was going to talk about the weekend of evidence gathering. Okay. So that was, I mashed the post button on that Monday evening. Tuesday morning, I was sitting in here having my coffee, and I heard the chopper outside. And I knew, having spent a significant amount of time in the military, that it was very low and that it was close. So I go outside, and off to the southwest was that black, beautiful, brand new looking Bell helicopter. No markings, no tail number. And it was circling tight circles over those woods where we were at. Me, you, and George. And it was making those tight circles. And y'all know the story. I was mad about it because it was too low. And I called 911 and I said, because I truly believed that that chopper might be in trouble. And the dispatcher said, well, transponder showing it at 1,000 feet doing 80 knots. And it was, by then, it had crossed the road and was maybe 150 feet over my neighbor's cow pasture doing about 30 knots. So I've not got any alternate explanations other than one guy said, well, they're checking the power lines. I said, over the woods?
Oh, they wouldn't know. That was most likely a Black Hawk, wasn't it?
Well, it was a Bell. It was a Bell helicopter.
Okay.
was
A lot of
asleep.
times they use Black Hawk because they're quieter.
No tail number. Now keep that in. That's very important. It did not have a tail number on it. And I got the video to prove it. And you guys saw it.
True.
Mhm.
So why would they be interested in this our little old tiny part of the world, my little 10-minute post that I did on TikTok and talking about finding the dead deer with the necks broken and all that? That's how much the government cares, in my opinion.
When they seen that ambush area that we filmed and they seen that deer in that tree, they were mad because we seen what they didn't want us to see. That's a fact. That's why we don't get to go over to East Tennessee anymore, because they run us out of there.
And same reason my computer got erased with 14 years of stuff on it.
Yep.
Fried.
Well, I come in
completely.
today and mine was turned off, and I don't know how it got turned off. But none of my stuff is missing yet. So, you know. But you ready? What can I throw in now to get you guys stirred up? Because I love doing that.
Well, I agree. First of all, let me chime in. You know, somebody sitting at home going, "Oh, give me a break, guys." Blah blah blah. No. I think we're all being monitored. Anybody who's got a show like us, and they're going to crack down on anybody who gets too close. And you can believe it if you want. You can believe it if you don't want. But you know, that Joe Barger testimony is an eye-opener, and that's the one Tim alluded to about it being an asset. Yes, the government has a department that works on all of this, and they probably monitor and try to keep track. I wouldn't doubt if a majority of these things are tagged and they're able to know where they're at. And yes, Appalachian Mountains, without a doubt, George, like you said, is a hotspot where they may be dumping some of these things at. And now, between going out with Tim and seeing the location there, you know, we keep talking about this location, knowing about my Black River Bigfoots, recently reading about elementals, regardless of what type of entity or creatures, beings these things are, they're all looking for their own territory, their own mountain, so they can raise their families. It has to do with territories. And I think if you get too close to the wrong creature's territories, the government knows.
Well, you know, I think, the reason I think that they dump them in the Appalachians, they believe that most of the people that live on the Appalachian Mountains, they don't think we're that smart to begin with. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the mountains are some of the oldest mountain ranges in the world, they believe that people will write them off as superstition. People write them off as, oh, I'm just imagining that because, you know, these are old woods. And they don't realize that, you know, we're not the dummies they thought we were.
Yeah.
And another thing,
we're documenting them, and we're making accountability, and when we do finally bring it to them and say, look, here, there you go. Then, you know, they're going to have to find a way to deny it without a big public problem, because once it gets out into the public, the only thing they can really write it off as, oh, they did that as AI. Oh, that's not real. Mm-hmm. Then they get all the hecklers out there to get on your podcast, to get on your shows, to get on whatever you're doing, and try to heckle you to beat you down. Boy, they're going to have a problem with us.
You hit two things, George. One, the vastness of the Appalachian Mountains. People don't realize it, but here in my county, I can take you places where there's nothing for miles. We've got the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, and then you hit the nail on the head. They try to discredit us. You know, they've been doing that for years. They're even now, if you're smart enough to look, with chemtrails. Oh, that's nothing but the exhaust off the airplane. Well, if you're not smart enough to tell the difference, then I feel sorry for you. But if you say anything about that, which I put every time I can get a good shot of it, I put it on Facebook. and then you'll get people in there trying to make fun of you and trying to discredit you and all that stuff. And if you go look and check their Facebook page, there's nothing there. And so the government's got people all the time, whether it's the Bigfoot, the dog man, the aliens, the whatever, they have got people going through trying to discredit you all the time on social media, trying to cover it up. They've been doing that for years. Look how they did it COVID, and all of that stuff, and they're still doing it. And you're exactly right, George. When people think of us, oh, that's that bunch of inbred redneck hillbillies, like the Beverly Hillbillies go to Hollywood, and that's what Andy and Griffin, Andy and Mayberry, that's what people think we are. But you know, it's just the stigmatism of being where we're located. But we know what's going on.
Nowadays, they don't even bother hiring people to do it. They just put in computer bots. So the computer bots picks up on certain words, and then it's automatic for it to go start throwing, ridicule towards it. First thing they start, and you can argue with it all day. You're arguing with the bot. You're not even arguing with the person most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there was a guy on one of my posts. I put some of the Bigfoot stuff out, and he argued with me for 4 days. And then he finally said, well, I believe, he said, I've actually seen them. I just wanted to get a rise out of you and argue. And I thought, well, so you just wanted to be a jerk. I mean, which is to me what it boiled down to, but that was his whole thing. Like some other people we know, we ain't gonna mention names, they like to try to get stuff started, and then everybody jump in on the bandwagon. They get their jollies off of it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I just want people to know, hey, you're not crazy. You saw what you saw, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's the reason my pronouns are, I told you so.
Well, I look at it a little different than a lot of people because my mind works a lot different than everybody's because I'm kind of warped in the head. I truly believe that this is going to have the Bigfoot and cryptid creatures and all this is going to go to the same route and has been going the same route as the UFOs. The UFOs have just been doing it longer in public than what the creatures have.
Right.
Not that they've been doing it longer, but just in public. And now they were finally releasing, they are UFOs out there, but we don't know where they're from. And then they started doing the counter argument, even though they'd already admitted it. And I mean, how dumb you got to be to think this entire universe, this galaxy out here, and this is the only planet that has intelligent life. Well, no, that's kind of a stretch, I know, but it has life on it. That's the dumbest. You have to be a moron not to even play the numbers on that one. They know the fact there's 200 million Earth-like planets out there, and you're telling me there's no life on them. I don't think so, Spanky.
One thing I don't understand, well, there's a lot of things I don't understand, but this is the one that is at the top of my list. They can see that far into those other galaxies and all of that stuff, and they can't figure out who them telemarketers is that keep calling my phone number to make them stop.
Yeah, exactly.
The common cold, cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Business.
You know what's funny? I was laughing the other day. I'm reading I post everything I do about the medical stuff and the science stuff. That's just me. I like to post it. All over the world, they're coming up with these cures for cancer. Not in America. They're coming up with cures for diabetes in China, in Germany, and everywhere else. Not in America. If you want to get the treatment for diabetes that cures type 1 diabetes, if you want that cure, you have to go to Germany and pay $40,000 to get that cure. They've got many robots that can go in now. They've already started human trials with it. That can go in and get rid of your cancer with 100% cure rate. They've already been doing experiments, and they're in the middle of human trials now. Not in America. I love America. America is the greatest country in the entire world. But the problem we have is we're bound by money.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Government's not going to give up any power because they lose money. Big pharma is not going to cure from taking medicines. There's no such
Mhm.
thing as taking medicine. You take the medicine to stop to get the disease. But if you stop taking medicine, you get the disease, so you got to take this other medicine.
Mhm.
Other places to come up with the cures, and we're not because of the money thing. And it's the same exact thing with the Bigfoot, all the other cryptids out there, along with aliens, along with ghosts and everything else. There's money in keeping all this stuff suppressed. If you can't, if you can't prove that if there's no Bigfoot up there, then they can continue to log that. They can continue to get the minerals out of that. They can continue to do this and this and this. And they make billions and billions of dollars off the forestry industry, off visitation, off licensing for hunting, off everything that they do. They make a pile of money. But if you know there's creatures out there and you don't want to go, then they're losing money.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's the biggest problem I have. I love America with all my life. I put my life on the line for it already, and I will continue to do so. But it pisses me off that they won't take the common sense routes and just, let everybody know what's going on. People are not, well, I have to rephrase this. A lot of people are not morons. A lot of
Thank
people
you.
are morons.
Mhm.
Thank you. Us Yankees. Thank you.
No. Just not
I'm
the people
kidding.
in Michigan. Anyway, we won't go there. I'm going to be nice. No, I actually meant Minnesota. But now there's just so much out there that if I'd get rid of the political stuff and the money stuff and just let things be, life would be so much better around the world.
Oh, yeah.
I think too, one more thing before I go, with all that you're saying, I think, especially here in America, it's technology and military driven to get the information first to make sure and secure that the U.S. stays at the forefront of our military abilities. And I don't have a problem with that. Knowing that what goes on in the rest of the world and communism and all of that, that's the true tyranny. And so for us to stay on the forefront, hey, if you want to keep, what do they say, 25, anything we find out today, the government is 25 years ahead of it. So me personally, I don't have a problem with that because we are the land of the free. I can get in my car and go buy a gallon of milk anytime I want. We're not restricted with our religious beliefs, all of that. So that portion, I guess I understand.
And I agree. I agree with you 100%. I'm all about America, and I said I put my life on for it, and I'll do it again if I need to. I just don't like, well, it's with any government. Every government's restrictive. Every government has policies to stop you from knowing stuff. That's just the way governments work. If you knew everything the government knows, they wouldn't have any power. And it's the same way. If we knew everything that's going on in China and China knew everything that's going on here, there's no power between there. You've got to have something over the other one. And that's where the power comes in. It's like they refuse to acknowledge these creatures. They refuse to acknowledge what we've seen with our own eyes. And they want everybody to think that we're crazy because, like I said, they don't want to lose that money coming in for that. And I won't even get into what I think about property taxes. That really pisses me off. But I won't go there tonight. I'm going to be nice. Since Robert's not here, I'm going to be nice. So, does anybody got any last words for us here?
Have we got any questions that we ain't went through?
We've been getting good comments. We had one, and a comment that I really wanted to share again. I'm going to go back up and find it. And I thought Ed had a really good take on that. And as soon as I find it, I'll put it back up and you guys can read it. I think Ed did it, and it was a really good one. It's about a crow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me go back and find it. Hold on. Hold your drawer till a minute. I'm slow. I'm old. but I'm pretty, so you know.
There you go.
Comments. All right, Edward. Oh, there it is. Now look at this comment. It says, we lost Boom Boom. If you do a crow wrong, it will never forget your face and will form other crows.
Yep.
And I think he's right. I think the Bigfoot's the same way.
Mhm.
Oh, there he is.
What I miss?
This comment right here from Ed, I went back to. I love the comment, and I definitely agree with him. It says, if you wrong a crow, it'll never forget your face and will inform the other crows. And I believe Bigfoot's the same way.
I've heard that.
And I know
think
it's true
I
with
think
crows.
Bigfoot uses the whatever animals around. You know, woodpeckers are a good thing for alarms.
That's true.
And because up on Standing Indian, my main area up there, that's how I got started up there, was hearing a crow, but I knew there wasn't no crows up there because I'd hunted there for umpteen million years and had never heard a crow up there. But then I heard the Bigfoot knocking a crow. So they use all kinds of stuff like that to try to fool you.
Yep. Do you have any final words, Jerry?
We sure did miss Robert tonight.
Yeah, we did. He's busy playing with goats, bringing baby goats into the world.
Yep. From my experiences, and I know Robert would back me up on this, a mama goat will pick the worst time possible to have a baby.
I think we agree. He would definitely agree with you on that. Boom, boom. Oh, wait, we have all kinds of comments here. Let me go down the comments real quick. That's okay. 100%. Okay. That's very true. That's been said. That's what Benjamin Franklin said. Here's your republic. Keep it if you can.
Yep.
I think that's going to actually help.
Yeah, I think it would.
If it's proven, then people would actually taking some of the stuff that we've learned and known for years serious. You know, just some of the stuff like the them not smelling all the time. We've learned a lot of stuff that people think is stupid, but if it comes out, then actually you would probably have more people listening, trying to learn and learn about them and that kind of stuff.
That's true. I agree with that. Jerry?
I'll tell you what. One question just hit me. Scott said it, and I was kind of pondering on it. He said, if Bigfoot was officially proven true, would that kill the podcast industry? And I don't think, I've thought about it for several minutes now. I don't think it would, because you're still going to have folks describing their encounters, describing their theories, and all that. They're already, I mean, in my mind, they've already been proven true.
Yeah.
It's a matter at this point of semantics. What to a particular person is proven true. And most people say, well, I want to see the dead body. But that aside, I think the last thing that the powers that be wants is for us to continue engaging these conversations and going out and looking and putting more and more and more and more stuff, because we have brought, by social media and podcast and everything else, we have brought this to the forefront of the public's attention, and the topic now has unprecedented popularity and interest.
True. Boom, boom.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I have to put this as my own personal opinion, but I'd be surprised if we're all still around in the same surroundings 100 years from now. I believe this is all coming to a head. I do believe these are the last days. I believe these creatures are bearing witness of the end times. But even if that's not true, I think along the lines of that Titanic, this is only the tip of the iceberg, aliens and Bigfoot. I think we're going to be finding out, we're just increasing in our intelligence. And there's so much more out there we're going to discover. You know, I saw a fairy. I keep saying it. I saw a fairy in front of my face. I was wide awake. This ain't no joke. I'm doing a study on Medusa right now. She wasn't just some gal with snakes in her hair. She was a giant. She had 2 sisters. She was known as a Gorgon. I mean, no, we're going to keep learning and learning and learning. And yes, some of the fly-by-night podcasts may falter because they're only scratching the surface and they're staying on the surface level. But as we dig deeper, no, I think we're barely scratching the surface of what's going to be learned in the upcoming years.
Well, the cool thing about Medusa, she was beautiful. She was one of the most beautiful women there was at the time.
Yep.
And Athena got jealous.
Yep.
And Athena said, I don't think so, Spanky.
That's right.
So,
Threw the old curse down.
That's right. Because she was messing with
I got
men.
I got a question.
Go for it.
Is Medusa's sister named Medea?
Oh. Hey, guys, I gotta wrap it up. I'm so sorry. I gotta get to work.
Well, before you leave, tell how they can get a hold of you.
Sure. Hey, the best way to support me personally is just go to my YouTube channel called Bigfoots of America Michigan, or to bigfootsofmichigan.com. If you need to get a hold of me, email me at bigfootsofmichigan@gmail.com or bigfootsofamerica@gmail.com. And then, of course, right here on the NCI channel, we're all equals and in this together.
Right.
Man.
That's right.
Be safe going to work, brother.
All right, guys. We'll see you. See you Thursday on time. On time. I'll let my family know. Bye, guys.
See you, man.
See?
There you go, Jerry. There's a question for you.
That is Miss Mary right up the road from me.
Well, she has a question for you. She said, do you think Bigfoots are drawn more to areas where people believe in them?
That brings to mind one theory, or some would say observation, that the more numbers that join a group of people who say they believe something, the more that thing manifests. Now, that's just what popped into my head.
Not spoken into existence.
Exactly. But more to Miss Mary's point, I think that in an area where people believes in them, most of the people who believe, for example, I'm going to use this area. They don't bother them. The people don't bother the creatures. They don't shoot at them. It's a less hostile environment for the Bigfoot because this generation knows they exist, and the last generation before, all this information is passed, down through the years. And I think that it might appear to be the case because they may be more apt to show themselves, and that's certainly proven true here in the South Mountains. We have periods of time here where months at a time, more the sightings pick up, and I think that they operate more in the open in an area where people believe, because the people have believed for a long time, and they just basically don't do anything to try to harm the creatures.
All right. They just coexist with them. They just live with them because they know they respect each other. And I can believe that. I can definitely believe that. What's your take, Tim?
I think so. I think Jerry hit the nail on the head. If you're out there provoking them and all that stuff, they're going to stay hid, even if they are on your property. But if you're trying to get along with them and ain't causing no ruckus, we know how they, and I'll just say the ones that I've interacted with. They honestly, they feel they get to a point to where they know they can trust you and they can come around you because you're not a threat.
I agree. I agree 100% with you. I think if they know that you're not going to bother them and they're not going to bother you, they're going to just like a neighbor. How y'all doing? You mind their own business and do what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, just like Jerry, Jerry was talking about him coming up and hitting the side of his house.
Yep.
They wasn't them threatening. They might have been just aggravating him because he come outside when he normally don't. And that's just aggravating him back. Well, you aggravated us. So now you think you're going to sleep. We're going to keep you up. and people can say whatever they want, but these creatures are bound to have a sense of humor. I ain't never heard one life, but I've seen some of the stuff they've done, and they're bound to have a sense of humor.
Oh, I tell you what, Ed just complimented us, boys. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, appreciate Ed.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, boys, I think we'll wrap it up now. We've done about an hour and a half. I think we've bugged people enough. Jerry, wants to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Well, you can get me on Facebook, Jerry Millwood. You can get me on YouTube right here in NCI show, North Carolina Investigates. Also, my channel, Rebels Dark Tales. And then TikTok is J.R.
All right, Timbo.
You can get me at Tim Dills 13 at TikTok, YouTube, X, Instagram, all that stuff. And that's also my my YouTube email, my Yahoo email, Tim Dills 13. You can go ahead and send it to YouTube. I'll try to find it, but you can get me on any of those places and here with these guys. So,
well, guys, it's been a good show. I'm George. You can get a hold of me on most of the social media sites. You can go find my books on Amazon. You can go to my store, Lunsford Gifts and Things. The links have been running across the bottom from what I can tell. Or you can just go to my website, which is authorgeorgelunsford.x10host.com. Check us out, guys. We're so tickled to death y'all came. We love all the comments. We love all the questions. And we got the best audience there is. I don't care what anybody says. These guys love to talk to us, and that just makes my day. Mm-hmm. Y'all are awesome. Awesome. And we thank y'all very much for watching. And well, I guess we'll call it done for tonight. We'll see y'all Thursday. Oh, wait, Tim's got something.
Tell them how they can get a hold of Rob if they need to.
I don't remember all
NCI. You put in NCI and then spell out North Carolina Investigates on YouTube to find our YouTube channel, or NCI on TikTok. And if I ain't mistaken, it's RGE 10. I better not tell you his email because it may go Dobby. But anyway, that's the two places you can find him on YouTube and TikTok.
There you go. And I can't remember all this stuff. He's got so many I can't keep up with them. I can't barely keep up with mine. But guys, thank y'all for coming. We do appreciate y'all very, very, very much. Well, and we will see you Thursday. I think we have a guest Thursday. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah. If everything keeps going like it is, we're supposed to have the lady that does the website for the local UFOs and stuff around here. Also, she knows some stuff about Bigfoot, but she's got the web page for the local UFO sightings and stuff here in Western North Carolina, and some of the places you've heard us talk about is some of the areas that she covers. So her and Miss Rachel will hopefully be here Thursday night. As far as I know right now, everything's good to go. So we're going to learn a lot about UFOs, and especially local here in Western North Carolina.
Sounds good. Well, guys, we're out of here. Everybody out there, remember your family and friends. Check on them during this bad, cold weather. Make sure they're safe. Make sure they're okay. And keep it squatchy.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down, must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years. And grizzled ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.